Hello, folks, and welcome back to this week's Homies Fantasy Football Weekly Recap Show. We're excited to share all the action from this week with you. But before we begin, I do need to apologize. I have enlisted the help of the Homieettas, looking at potential trade possibilities, anything and everything, to help me get out of last place before the season ends. And
actually, help me right now.
Tim Tebow. So a trade takes two people. It's a one-for-one kind of a thing. Okay. I'd like to start by saying congratulations to Dakota. Dakota is this week's high score winner for the week. Congratulations, Dakota. I got $10 coming your way.
Mine, I have a trade with two people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook for a defense. That's not...
It could work. Hear me out.
That could work.
It could work.
I'll think about it.
Oh, okay.
Congratulations, Dakota. You got $10 coming your way. And now, as always, I'm going to turn it over to your favorite host and mine. Take it away, Schmidtstain.
Thanks, Kamish. I haven't heard that name in probably 5 years and probably could have gone 5 more. But anyway, welcome back, everybody, to this week's recap of the Homies Fantasy Football League. We are now in Week 9. Things are starting to heat up. The standings are getting mixed around a little bit. We've got some teams falling that were up a little bit a couple weeks ago. Don't know who that could possibly be, but not to worry, the bottom is staying relatively consistent thus far. But anyway, let's get into this past week's scores and highlights from around the league. Now, since we talked last week, we've had quite a few trades go down. Everybody trying to get their last-ditch efforts in to push their teams toward that final run. First one we've got between Dakota and the Commish. Dakota sending Jerry Jeudy, the Commish sending Chris Carson. Next one we've got between the Commish and Orton, a big blockbuster trade in this one. The Commish is receiving Antonio Gibson, Javonte Williams, and Amari Cooper. Orton's receiving Dalvin Cook, CJ Uzoma, as well as Odell Beckham Jr. Next up between myself and Carlos. Carlos acquiring Marquise Brown and Mike Davis. Myself getting Damian Harris and KJ Osborne. And finally, our most recent one last night, another one between Orton and the Commish. The Commish getting CJ Uzoma back, Orton receiving Mo Alley Cox. A lot of trades going through. I believe this trade deadline is coming up very, very soon, if not probably within the next week or so. So if y'all have any fair moves to make, right, Carlos and Patrick, make sure to get those in soon. Let's get into last week's scores. We're going to be starting with Craig and Dakota. Craig coming in 5-3, Dakota coming in 4-4, and this was one of our better matchups throughout this last week. We're going to start on the side of Craig. Nice game out of Dak Prescott, finally coming back with 20 points. Joe Mixon, big game out of him with 27. Devontae Smith finally with a big-time game, 22 points out of him. Russell Gage and Travis Kelce both in the teens. A solid week for Craig, putting up 132 points, but as we move over to the side of Dakota, he was our high scorer this week, as Adam alluded to, and you know where this one's going. Dakota had a massive game out of Lamar Jackson with 33, Alvin Kamara with 20, Melvin Gordon with 17, Deontay Johnson getting him 11 points, which is what helped seal the deal for him on Monday night, Darren Waller with 16, and that Patriots D staying hot, 20 points out of them. Leads Dakota to a nice victory and the high score payout. Congratulations, Dakota. Final score on this one, Dakota 139, Craig 132. Both teams moved to 5-4. Next up, we've got David taking on the Commish. We had a nice tight score to talk about in our last game, and this one was anything but. I think Adam is going to want me to get through this as quickly and painlessly as possible, and looking at the scores on Adam's side, I'm not really sure that there's too many that I can highlight, as the highest scorer on his team this last week was with 12 points. So Adam, if you don't mind, I'll just move over to David's side. For David, nice game out of Teddy Bridgewater, 24 points. McCaffrey coming back, dropping 14. Cordell Patterson stays hot with 19. Robert Woods with a nice game of 16, and his tight end, flex, and defense all in double digits. Nice solid week out of David, 122 points. A couple weeks ago, was down in time for that last place spot. Now he's starting to heat up a little bit. Final score in this one, David 122. The Commish just 73 points. Hopefully the Homiettas can help on those trades, Adam. David moves now to 4-5. The Commish falling to 2-7. Next up, we've got myself taking on Will. Myself coming in 5-3, Will coming in 3-5. We'll start on my side of things. Really good game out of Carson Wentz, 26 points. Both running backs in double digits, though would have liked to see a little bit more. Cooper Kupp stays hot, 20 points out of him, 13 out of T. Higgins. And after that, not much other scoring to talk about. A couple donuts in the lineup and the flex and the defense spot. And almost quite literally my entire bench filled with injury or bye this week. Just a rough one out of the squad again this week. And as we move over to Will's side, Najee Harris and Justin Jefferson both with nice games of 16, as well as Michael Pittman and Hunter Renfrow having nice games with 17 points each. Not a massive week for Will by any means. However, if you look at the couple players on his bench, could have been a really big week for him. James Conner on the bench with 39 and Nyheim Hines with 20. I'm bringing this up because of the loss. It's really the only downside I can play on Will in this. But in what was an ugly matchup, Will takes home the victory in this one. Final score 107-97. 2-7. I fall to 5-4. Will moves up to 4-5. Next up, we've got Jose taking on Carlos, and if you thought the last matchup was pretty ugly, well, this one's giving it a run for its money. We'll start on the side of Carlos. Some nice double-digit games out of A.J. Dillon, Brandon Cooks, and Jalen Waddle. But other than that, not a lot of scoring for Carlos this week. Josh Allen had a really rough week taking on that insane Jaguars defense. And just a lot of single-digit scores around. And taking a look at his bench too, Darnell Mooney, 20 points on the bench. Evan Ingram also with 12 on his bench. Could have made the difference in this one. And we'll shift over now to Jose. Michael Gaskin with a nice game of 15. Emmanuel Sanders with a respectable game of 10. And that tight end and flex spot, which he's running double tight ends, getting him 9 points apiece. Not a great week for Jose either. Patrick Mahomes, a really rough game with 12 points. Austin Eckler coming back to just score 10. And another story of the bench, George Kittle. Someone might want to let Jose know that he's finally back. He scores 20 points on his bench, and Kenyon Drake as well with 16. All in all, though, I don't think Jose is too upset with taking home another victory. Final score in this one, Jose with 93, Carlos with 83. Both teams moved to 5-4. Next up in this one, we've got Patrick taking on Matt. Both teams coming into this one 5-3. We'll start on the side of Matt Stafford, not his best game, but does manage to put up 15 points. Devontae Booker, who's been a pretty nice surprise, filling in for Saquon Barkley, dropping 14. And Keenan Allen coming in with a big-time game of 22. All in all, though, not a lot of scoring on the side of Matt. After that, just a lot of single-digit scores and a rough -2 spot out of his defense. On the side of Patrick, though, he's been on a hot streak, and he continues to roll. Jalen Hurts with 18. Jonathan Taylor, he's been big time this year. Derrick Henry's gotten a lot of talk, but Jonathan Taylor's been up there in the big names for fantasy as well. He scores 33 points this week. Stephon Diggs scores 14, and what we talked about last week with Michael Carter, a big game coming out of a Jets player. We got another one this week. Elijah Moore with 27, and those big-time scores really helped Patrick in this one, especially with the injury to Chase Edmonds, which got 0 out of him. All in all, though, Patrick stays hot. He gets another victory. Final score in this one, 124-90. Patrick continues to roll. He's now 6-3. Matt falls to 5-4. And our final matchup, we've got Orton taking on Carlos. We talk about Patrick being really hot. Well, Orton's team has been lately as well, coming in on a 2-game win streak. And he's taking on Carlos, who's been tied for that last place spot for quite a while. We'll start on the side of Carlos. Nick Chubb comes back and drops a big-time game of 29 points. Tyler Higbee with a solid game of 10, and newly acquired Marquise Brown, I miss him already, drops some 20 points as well. Other than that, though, not a lot of scoring for Carlos. You're not going to get a lot with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback, and Chuba Hubbard remaining in the lineup as well in light of Christian McCaffrey's return. It's been a rough run for Carlos. Not so much on the other side, though, for Orton. Justin Herbert, another massive game, 34 points out of him. Dalvin Cook didn't find the end zone, but still managed to get a ton of yards. He gets 15. Deebo Samuel drops 11. Pat Freiermuth gets 21 points, and the Dolphins defense, 18 points out of them. Another very good week out of Orton. Unfortunately, just missed going back-to-back weeks with the high score payout, but he does get himself another W. And you know what? If I'm Orton in this spot, man, I'm feeling really good about things. You know, a few weeks ago, things not looking so hot, but a 3-game win streak, man, I'm starting to do a little dance at this point. You know what I'm saying? You know, just get a little groovy into it. You know, come on. Hey, you know the vibe, you know? No? Okay. But either way, Orton continues his roll. Final score in this one, Orton with 135, Carlos with 98. Orton moves to 6-3. Carlos falling to that tie with Adam at 2-7. That's going to do it for this week's scores and highlights from around the league. We'll be back for week 10 next week. But for now, we'll send you back out to the commish who we love oh so much to take us out.
Thank you, Schmitty. I don't know why you did the Macarena in the middle of your recap video, but I got to say, I liked it. Well, I think that's it for us this week. I just want to say thank you.
No, I have two now. Mine's the best.
Guys.
No, mine's the best.
Okay.
Look.
Guys.
Okay.
Guys, those are terrible trades. I think I can do this, okay? I'll come up with my own.
Okay, well, I don't think that's been working out for you,
Right.
so...
Until next week, we'll see you then. See you, losers.